My name is Jared James. If you aren't familiar with me, I'm best known as an entrepreneur that gets the unique opportunity to coach and train agents and brokers in the real estate world and speak at conferences in front of thousands of people. But it wasn't always that way for me. What separates me from so many others is that I've actually done everything that I want you to be able to do. For that reason, this is the place to come if you want to learn the strategies needed to succeed in today's marketplace. This is the Jared James Today Show. Hey everyone, Jared James here, and welcome to episode 35 of the Jared James Today Show. Looking forward to this, guys. I'm finally kind of off the road. I've got a few more trips this year. I think I'm going to Atlantic City, going to Buffalo, going to Syracuse. If you're going to be one of those places, feel free to send me a message on Instagram or something. If there's any chance for us to catch up as a group or anything, I'll definitely be down for that. You can also see here that I've got my JJ merch on. This is my Embrace the Climb shirt you guys can get if you go to jaredjamestoday.com/store. We've got all sorts of stuff there for you guys, shirts and pop sockets and cups and water bottles and just all sorts of stuff, so make sure you check that out. Today, the topic that I'm going to cover is one that I'm kind of passionate about. I've been talking about it a lot lately, and we're going to be talking about 3 steps that I want you to take right now. As always, guys, if you enjoy this episode, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below, subscribe, as always, to the channel, guys. I've been loving the numbers of you that do that, and the numbers of you that are sharing it with your colleagues and such means the world to me. On a side note, it's been really cool to go on the road and talk to people and find out that at your sales meetings and other things, like you're watching me in your meetings. I remember being on the other end of those and watching people, so it means the world to me. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate that. So keep that up. But for today, what I want to talk about is I want to talk about 3 steps that, especially heading into 2019, this is really any time, but this is a time of the year when you really need to take advantage of your own emotion. Like, you really need to look at, what is it I have to do to get what I want out of 2019? And the real question for so many of you is not, was 2018 a good year or not? The real question that so many of you need to be asking right now, was 2018 everything it should be for me? We're all dealing with a different level of potential. We're all dealing with a different set of skills, a different level of talent, a different level. And so it's not about how did you do compared to that person next to you? How did you do against the person sitting next to you right now? How did you do compared to the people in your city, your town, your state, whatever? All that matters is how did you do in relation to what you've been given, because your potential ultimately matters. And so what I try to do with people is I try to get the most out of your potential based on where you are, who you are, the potential in your market, those types of things. And I think these 3 steps that I'm going to talk about now will help you do that, okay? So 3 things. First thing we want to do is we head into 2019, because what you do right now matters. How 2019 is going to start is going to be determined by what you do right now. And while so many agents and so many people in this industry are taking a break and not doing what they need to do and whatever, and then they're going to wait till 2019 and go, oh, I've got to turn it on. This business is a cyclical business. It's a cyclical industry. And so what you do right now is going to manifest in the beginning of 2019. So please keep that in mind. So the first step of what I want you to do is very simply have a plan. I literally last week did a business planning training for 2019. We had thousands of people on there. And you guys can still go watch that. You can download our free plan. We have a business plan on there, multiple pages to really figure out what's going on in your market, what niches are there, what kind of marketing you should be doing, what opportunities, all of that stuff. We have a digital planner too, where it's going to give you your numbers and get that. We have a Great Week Planner, which is actually going to help you with your calendar and do those things. You can download them for free, okay? So I highly recommend go watch that. Go to jaredjamestoday.com/business plan, all lowercase, or I think if you go to our site, jaredjamestoday.com, and you hover over coaching, I think it says 2019 business plan. It's either under coaching or under events. I can't remember which one it is, but you'll find it there, okay? And so you're going to want to go watch that, and you're going to want to actually have a plan for 2019, okay? We are heading into a time, regardless of where you're watching right now, the market is shifting. And I'm aware that we've got people from all over the world that watch this, but the market overall is shifting in places. And so in extremely strong markets, what tends to happen is that most businesses do well, right? What's exciting about a shifting market, not a market that's going to crash, but it's going to soften a little bit. What's exciting about that is the idea that the best are going to win, right? The most talented, the ones that are most prepared, those are the ones that are going to win. And I want that to be you. Because the truth is, in 2019, you're not going to get what you want. You're going to get what you actually have planned for, what you're committed to, what you're being held accountable to, and so part of that plan and what we do with our business plan for you is help you you figure out, first off, what do you want? Everyone wants different things. Not everyone watching me right now can say, I want to be number one in my market. Some of you don't have the potential to be number one in your market. Some of you aren't willing to give up what it takes to be number one in your market. Like some of you need to be number 8 and make a commitment to go to your daughter's dance recitals. Some of you need, so we first need to figure out what we want, and part of figuring out what we want is also figuring out what the infrastructure for that looks like. It's not enough to say that I want this next year, that I want this income goal for next year. I want, what does it actually take to get there? One of the major messages that I've been trying to get across to all of our students and audiences that I've been talking to all over the place is the idea that it's boat before fishing. It's boat before fishing. What does that mean? It means that we become an industry that is absolutely obsessed with creating leads, creating opportunities, creating these things. And those things matter, guys. But you don't go fishing without a boat, right? And so before the actual fishing, before the actual lead creation, first comes infrastructure. And I know that's not sexy and that's not, but you don't go shark fishing in a canoe, okay? You don't go out and try to go deep sea fishing swimming out there in a Speedo or whatever. That's just the image that I got. It would look ridiculous. But you guys get my point. It's boat before fishing. Make this the year that you not only plan for what it is in 2019 that you want, but how do you actually get there? What does it take to get there? What is the infrastructure? What are you lacking from an infrastructure systems hiring standpoint? What is actually going to get you there? Because all business is ultimately ingredients. If you put the right ingredients, it gets you the right thing. You can want a brownie, but if you put the ingredients in for cornbread, you're not getting a brownie. And so the idea that we want something different in 2019, but we're not changing anything about our structure or how we get there, we're just hoping it happens, we're gonna work harder, we're gonna hustle harder, that doesn't get it. You have to have a plan. So I highly recommend you go and watch that training and really figure out what it is you want for yourself, how do you actually get there, and this is the year that you start knowing your numbers, because that's part of what's part of our business plan, is you figuring out your numbers. And it's gonna tell you your conversion percentages over the last year. It's going to tell you how many appointments it's going to take for you to get to the numbers that you're trying to get to. And the cool thing about knowing your numbers and knowing how many appointments it takes to ultimately get to where you are is that that is what's going to actually tell you on a regular basis whether you're on track or not on track. Because when I run into agents and brokers on a regular basis and I say, hey, where are you at for the year? What they always respond with, I'm at about tells me you don't have a clue, okay? We're guessing. We're doing just like we do with our credit card statements, where if I said, how much money's on your credit card statement right now? You'd go, it's at about, and then it comes in 10 times higher. And you're like, someone must have stole my card. And you have your spouse start calling and going, you gotta tell them somebody stole our card. And then you start looking down your statement and you go, that was me, that was me, that was me. Honey, get off the phone, this is all us, it was higher than we thought. Guessing and thinking about doesn't work. You got to know where you really are. And when it comes down to a number of appointments, and you know based on conversion percentages that I need 2 appointments a week, and that will ultimately get me to 50 transactions or whatever it happens to be, what's great about that is that if it's Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. and you've already created, not hoped for, not waited for, not fallen into, you've created your second appointment for that week, then you know at Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. that you're on track. And now you don't have to leave your office Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whenever it happens to be, and even at dinner you're answering your phone. And even at dinner, I gotta get back, this one might be a deal. This one might, because you never know when you're done. You never know when you're finished, right? And so knowing your numbers helps you to know when you're on track, when you're not on track, when you're done working for the week. And you could do whatever you want with the rest of that time, but you start getting very specific. Which brings me to my second point, which flows right from that first point, which is this is the year that I want you to get serious about your calendar. Okay? What is so great about knowing those appointments is that now you know what goes on your calendar. You know what kind of activities, when we look at your KPIs, your key performance indicators, when we look at your best uses of time, when we look at all these kinds of things, we now know what goes on there. And for so many of you, when you've looked at your calendar, what most of you do is that the only thing that goes on your calendar on a regular basis are client meetings, client things, everything else is when you have time. I will prospect when I have time. I will exercise when I have time. I will do these mega open houses when I have time. I will follow up with my leads and my other people when I have time. I will recruit when I have time. I will train my people when I have time. I will go and spend when I have, guys, when does when I have time ever happen? It doesn't. If it's not scheduled, it doesn't happen. And so if I know that in order for my business, which let's get very real about this, guys, my business, how well this business performs is a personal thing. Like, it is the ultimate scorecard. The better this business does, the more freedom I have in my life, the more I'm able to come from a position of strength, the more that I'm able to give things to the people around me and my children and say yes to things and do that, whatever. Like, the better this business does, everything else is better, okay? But when you don't know where you are, it's all a luck or chance. Good year, bad year. Good year, mediocre year. Great year, mediocre year. Bad year. Like, we cannot run those types of businesses. We've got to know the numbers of what they are, because then we know what goes on the schedule. And if I know, and I'm just using this very vague example, that I need 2 appointments per week in order to create 50 transactions, or whatever your number happens to be after you do that business planning training, well, I know that a certain number of time every week is for appointment setting. It's when I do my prospecting. It's when I follow up. It's when I'm not going to spend every moment of every day doing nothing but putting out fires and helping people who are around me, because I'm a people pleaser, which I know a lot of you are. I know that ultimately the best way that I can help people is if I have a flourishing business going forward, which only happens when I know my numbers and I'm very specific about how I run my business and knowing exactly where I am at all times. That's how I ultimately help people, okay? And here's the crazy thing, guys. Again, I know your personalities. You're type A's, you're people pleasers, and so many of you got into this business because you wanted freedom of schedule. You didn't want a boss. You didn't want any of these things. And so the idea of a very detailed calendar scares you because you go, I want freedom. And my question always to you, for those of you that aren't keeping a very detailed calendar and knowing your numbers on your business, is how's that working out? Got a lot of freedom in this business? Because the very thing that you're avoiding, which is a detailed calendar, is the very thing that would actually give you freedom. It sounds to you like, oh my God, it's like the walls are closing in, like I can't. But the truth is, the beauty of a detailed calendar and the beauty of the detailed actually knowing what your numbers are and where you are throughout the year, where you are every single week, is that that very thing is actually the thing that would give you freedom. Because you know when you're working, but what does that also mean? You know when you're not working. And that's a crucial point. And so a challenge I'm going to make to every one of you when you go download our business planner and our digital tracker and you download our Great Week is I want you guys for 1 week to actually fill out that calendar and stick to it. Because what you're going to find when you create that perfect week for yourself, that great week for yourself, is you are going to find out just how addicted you are to your unproductive patterns. You're going to find out how addicted you are to other people's approval. You're going to find out how addicted you are to putting out everybody else's fires and handling all these things that have nothing to do with the bottom line revenue of your company. And when you figure that out, that's the moment I want you to wake up, remember this, have me like a little angel on your shoulder and go, crap, I guess I am addicted to this, okay? And that's no good for anyone. We want to break that. That needs to be one of our 2019 goals, and we want to break that. And that comes from having a plan, knowing your numbers, knowing exactly what you need for that week, and keeping an accurate calendar and having it on your calendar when you prospect, when you follow up, when you do open houses, when you exercise, when you meet with clients, when you have personal time, when you eat, when you everything. Put it on your calendar. That's what needs to happen for you going forward, because that is the thing that will actually give you freedom, so you know when you're working and you know when you're not working. And I'm telling you right now, that is an absolute beautiful thing. And look, in any real estate business, let's be very honest right now. You've got to have some flexibility, but stop handing time out. You talk to a buyer, when are you available? It's the worst question you'll ever ask. Because you're starting off the relationship by saying, whenever you're available, I'm available. Schedule time throughout the week, 11 to 2 o'clock. This is when you do showings. And now when someone sends you that property that they have to see it's the best thing ever, great. I've got time in my calendar from 11 to 2. What time do you go on lunch? I'll set it up. Stop giving away the hours. Start respecting your schedule. When you don't respect your schedule, nobody else respects your schedule. So it's time to start running our business like a business. The reason why people schedule time to go and get their teeth cleaned at a dentist during normal hours is because that is what has been created as the expectation of what's normal. The reason why everyone is expecting you to come out on nights and weekends, not that it's never going to happen, but it's because that's what you have created as the normal. We train people how to treat us. We train people how to feel about us. And I'm telling you that if you want to start running your business like a business, this is how you have to start not only thinking, this is how you have to start acting. And the first person that you have to get over, the first person that you're going to have to overcome is not the person you're looking at unless you're looking at a mirror. You've got to get over you because you've created that around you. And the third step, and you guys don't hear too much of this from me, but I've just gotten to the point where I have such a belief system now. The third step is that many of you listening to me right now, you need to get a coach. Guys, it's not an accident when you look at the top people in the industry, they all have coaches. The biggest difference between an amateur and a professional is professionals have coaches. Professional athletes have coaches. Dancers have coaches. Coaches, they have coaches. Why? Not because they're not smart, not because they're not great at what they do. Actually, to the opposite, they're amazing at what they do. And the last thing they want to do is waste potential. Because what a coach does for you is a coach holds you accountable. A coach sees things from a different perspective and holds you accountable to. Can you imagine if over the last year you did everything that you thought to do that was a great idea or that you knew you should have done consistently, or could you imagine what everything looks like right now? Like, you don't have to imagine, okay? Get a coach, start getting held accountable. And quite frankly, if I'm not the voice that you listen to, go to another program. There's great programs in the industry, but make this the year that you get serious. You hold yourself accountable and you invest in something like this that is going to 10, 20, 30x what you actually invest in a coach. Like, I'm at the point, guys, where I get so many testimonials from people. We just got one a couple days ago in our group where someone said, I've been in the industry 17 years. I've been pretty much the same thing every single year, I've done the same revenue. I've gotten comfortable with it. I didn't even realize it happened. I went to Jared's Advance and I thought about getting a coach, but I still didn't know if I could. 4 months later, I decided to do it. She goes, I just completed my first year in coaching and I just doubled the highest revenue I'd ever done in my business. Why? Because we as people, we're water, we're path of least resistance. We're always going to go the easiest route. But when you have someone there who's actually holding you accountable and making you do the things that you don't want to do, but you know that you need to do within your business, everything changes. I say it all the time, guys, doing what you love for a living doesn't mean love what you do every single day. And so there are parts of your business that so many of us are avoiding, and yet they're the key ingredients that would help us lift off. We need that person that pushes us and makes us expand, that pushes us and makes us delegate, that pushes us and makes us make calls we don't want to make, that pushes us and makes us stick to an actual schedule where we're following up so we're not costing ourselves thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions of dollars. Having that person by your side who is doing that for you is not weakness, it's actually strength. And it's what the best people in our industry do. It's what the highest performing professionals in the world do. And it's what so many of you need to do. So, to recap, we need to have a plan. We need to know exactly what it looks like, exactly where we're lacking right now, what the infrastructure looks like. We need a plan. This is the year we commit to a calendar. This is the year that we finally start time blocking and saying, I know when I'm working, I know when I'm not working, and I'm following numbers. I am going to start running a business like a business because I understand, especially in this industry, you're going to do one of two things. You're either going to run a business or you're going to run around. You're going to run a business or you're going to run around. And for many of you, you have experienced what it's like to run around, and I'm telling you that 2019, starting right now, is the moment that you need to start running a business. And one of the ways that happens is our third step, you need to get a coach. I don't run a coaching company by accident. It's because I believe in it. I love the testimonials we get, and it gives me and this company an amazing opportunity to see so much change for you, not just in your revenue, but how you're running your business, the relationships that you have as a result of doing that. And I want to help and be a part of that. Okay, guys? So here's what I want from you. If you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. As I always say, share it with somebody. But I want you to comment below. Are you going to do the things that I've asked you to do here? And if not, why? I want you to comment below and let me know that, guys. Subscribe as always. I can't wait to be a part of the success for so many of you going forward. I want you guys, so many of you listening, to be the testimonials that I'm reading off next year, that I'm having up on a stage with me at the Advance. That would be the coolest thing in the world for me. As I always say, guys, it means the world to me that you take the time to watch me. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this. Share it with someone else. I'll talk to you soon. Hey there, you, and I am talking to you in particular, person that made it to the end of my video. It means the world to me. But if you made it to the end, I'm hoping that you'll take a second and subscribe right here. Make sure you share that with all your friends, by the way. They're in real estate, sales, entrepreneurial, whatever it happens to be. By the way, if you're looking for a speaker for your upcoming event, click right here to get some more information. And as usual, if you have a question you want me to personally respond, just connect on social. You can click right over here and see all the platforms I'm on. I hope to hear from you soon. Have a great one.